In this video we will look at widgets and add widgets to a page. So this here on the right hand side is a widget and it contains a search element and a recent blog feature, so you can see the recent blog posts. So we'll go ahead and take a look at that and we will maybe add to it and create a new one. So first of all I'm just going to go to the page itself, so that's the home page, just so we take a look at what we're dealing with. So again, we're using the Fusion page builder, and what I have done is I've created a column 1/3 in width, and in that I've added a widget area. And again, we can do that by going to elements to add an element and look for widgets, or we can filter our options here and select widget. Then we just select the widget we want to add. So at the minute there's four. There's the blog sidebar, and footer widget 1, 2 and 3, and obviously they correspond to our widgets down below, 1, 2 and 3. And this then would be our blog sidebar. Okay, so now we know what it is and we know how to implement it. Let's go ahead and create a brand new one. So we'll go to Appearance and Widgets. So here we can see our blog sidebar, and we've footer widget 1, 2 and 3, and we can open up any of these and see we've got a text element in here, so we can open that up some more and we can see we just have some HTML code with some paragraph tags with my company name, address, etc. So if you wanted to update the information in that, you could update it here and that will correspond then to this information here. So if you wanted to change that to my company name to an actual company name, for example, you could do. So we'll just change my to actual, just for the purposes of this demonstration. Come back out, refresh our page, and that's an actual company name. Okay, so let's go ahead and create a new widget. So up here on the top we can define a new widget, so I'm going to create one and I'm just going to call it test. You can call it whatever you want, generally something relevant to what you're trying to achieve. So this is just going to be a test widget for me, so I'm just going to call it test. And you can see it's populated there for us, so we can expand it out and see there's absolutely nothing in it. But all we need to do then is check our available widgets over here and see what ones we want to add. So with Avada, for example, when you use the Avada theme, you get some widgets by default, like a Facebook plugin, that Avada tabs I showed you, which corresponds to this thing here. So it's actually a blog tab, and some other ones. So let's go ahead and add one of those. Click and drag and drop, and then we can organize it, so we can say we want to view by the highest views, view popular posts by the highest views. We can set the number of posts to display, so we'll just leave those at 3, recent posts 3, and number of comments the same. We'll actually disable comments. I like to disable comments because generally my blogs don't contain any comments, so I like to turn those off, help reduce spam. Okay, so we've got our Avada tabs in there. We can add something else as well. So we can add a search. So if I drag that up here, so you can see it's going to be very similar to this one here, but just to show you an idea. So this is a search. Search. Whoops. Here's just a little title. Let's save that. And the other one then is just an arbitrary text or HTML box as well. So we'll put that in at the top and I'll give it a title. I'll just call it heading. And then in here would be the body text. So I'll just copy some body text. I'll just copy that, paste it in there, save that. And I can close those up. Now we can see that my test widget has now got 3 elements or 3 widgets in it, and we can arrange those any way we want by clicking and dragging and moving them around to whatever way we want, and that will save automatically, as you see there. So there are lots of other things you can choose, I'm just going to leave it at that for the minute because I just want to keep this basic. I don't want to go into too much detail to confuse you. So let's go ahead now that we've our widget created. Let's go and add that to a page. So we'll go back to pages, and I might use the about page in this example. So there's two ways you can add a widget using the Avada theme. If you're using the Avada theme, there's a second way. You can scroll all the way down to the bottom and look for sidebar here under Fusion Page Options. And once you select that, you'll see we have an option that there's currently no sidebar, but then it will give you the option to add one of your widgets that you created. So you can see here, I've created test, and there it is. So I can add that. And I can also add a second sidebar as well if I wanted, but I don't want to do that. Well, we'll add the second one just for the purposes of this demonstration. And then we can decide if we want it to be on the left or the right, and the default is the right hand side. So for instance, if we didn't want it to default to the left, we did want it to default to the left instead of the right, only for this page. We can do it only for this page in these settings here, or if we wanted to default it to the right or to the left for all pages, I'll show you how to do that just in a moment. So for now, I'll update that. We'll come back out and take a look at our About Us page. And we can see now that our sidebar has gone to the left, and also we've got one to the right because we added a second sidebar. So we've one on the left and one on the right. And if we wanted, we could change that back to the right and then update. Both will now be on the right hand side. Refresh that. Oops, refresh that again. That's peculiar. They should be both on the right. I guess the second sidebar is defaulted to the left. So we'll just put that back as default. And I guess we'll turn off the second sidebar for now. So it's at default. There's only going to be one sidebar, so that should only display this sidebar and it should stay on the right. So technically this one here should disappear. And it has done. Okay, great. So if we wanted to change all the sidebars to the left hand side, let's just take a quick look at how we do that. So we go to Avada, Theme Options, and we look for our sidebar options within Theme Options. And here's sidebars down here. So we can see for pages, for example, we can set the global sidebar. So if we wanted, we can actually display this test widget for all pages, or we can just choose to turn on a particular widget on whatever page we want, which is what I prefer. It lets you do more, display different things on different pages. So we can just choose left if we want to display it globally for the left. So that means all sidebars should display on the left. So if we refresh the page, that sidebar is on the left. Now if we go back to the home page, we'll notice that the sidebar here is still on the right hand side, and that's because we added that with a container and we used the editor, the Fusion Page Builder, to drop an element in there. So that's not technically a sidebar, that's just technically a widget positioned in a column in a container. Whereas this page here, we've actually gone down to the bottom of the page and set the sidebar details. So I'm just going to flick that back to the right hand side, save my changes. Now I'll go back to my page, go back to About Us, and what I'll do is I'll disable the sidebar altogether, so we don't have any sidebar, and save that change. And just to confirm that's been done, I'll refresh this page and we should have no sidebar. Great. Now I'm going to add the sidebar one more time, just using a container. So we can see here we have one container already, and I'm just going to add a new element. Actually what I might do is I need to add a column first of all. So I will first of all resize this to about 2/3, and I'll just quickly duplicate it and shrink the size down to 1/3. It saves me having to go down and look to add a new column. I can just duplicate one. Sometimes it's quicker to do it. Resize it, and I'm going to delete the content in it. So now I've got this empty column with a container inside a container that I can add an element to. I'm going to add my element. I'm going to look for widget, widget area. There we go. And then we can set the widget we want. And there is some more details there, showing some padding and colour and stuff like that. I'm not going to do any of that. I'm going to leave it as default and click update. If we come back out, refresh the page, we should see our sidebar is there, and it'll only be in this position, obviously above these guys here, because that's where it is in this layout. So if you wanted that in full width, you'd have to put sort of everything, you'd have to shrink all of these guys down 1/3, 1/3 to allow this to fall down that way there. So again, that's why sometimes using the sidebar layout would work better than using the widget. But if you just wanted to drop one thing in one page, it might be worth using the widget in this manner. Okay, so I'll delete that, and I will change my content back to the way I had it. I think I just confused myself. Okay, so that was full width, and I think that was duplicated. I think that's how the page looked. Okay, so that's an overview of widgets.